Hello, everyone, and welcome to Track Talk by Kicking for Home. I'm your host, Ben Drury, and today I have the wonderful honor of being here with Langston Thomas and Zach Wright. We've got about six school records between the two at Hickman High School, and we'll just talk about all things track and field here today like we do on Track Talk. So let's get into it. So first off, just want to talk about like the early beginnings of track and field for you guys. So we'll start with you, Zach. Obviously, senior, you've been in it longer. So basically, just kind of walk me through like how'd you get into track?
So I mean, it's like the typical story. Like at Olis, I don't know if you remember, we would run a lap every PE class.
Oh
right?
yeah.
And like for most of the year, I jogged. This was like third grade, and then finally, like these two kids were talking smack to me, and because they ran track for Blue Thunder, which is like the AAU team here.
Yeah.
And they were like, "Oh, we're the fastest. No one can beat us." I was like, "I don't think that's true." And so I went out, smoked everybody. They were like, "You got to join our track team." So I started doing Blue Thunder. Third, fourth, fifth grade, I did Blue Thunder. Had some success there. It was fun. Then for a while, I kind of got a little tired of track just because of like injuries and things like that. And then came back in high school and had some success. I mean, that's the short story. The old PE class lap.
So Langston, how'd you get into it?
So for me, I started like 7th grade year. I just started at West, but COVID hit, and then so I wasn't able to do it. And then I tried again 8th grade year. So 7th grade year, I had no meets, didn't do anything. 8th grade year, I got hurt before a meet again. Like tore my hamstring. It was a pretty bad pull or something, so I wasn't able to do it then. So I took a break. Didn't think I was gonna run track again. Didn't even think about it. Was playing basketball, but sophomore year, during spring break, on like the first day on like that Sunday before spring break, I was on Fortnite with some people, and they were like, "Yeah, you might as well do track," and I was like, "Okay, I'll do it." So I came out, ran track that week, and the rest is history. And now I'm on this journey with my brothers, and it's really dope. So, yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I kind of like obviously a similar story as you, same thing with the PE laps. You got I probably tried a little bit harder, but it's okay. Probably ran a couple more laps. But,
yeah.
I mean, and both of you guys, you have played other sports at Hickman.
Yeah.
Zach, you played football last year, and obviously, as you talked about, you played basketball. Now, seemingly, you guys have kind of gone. Obviously, you're signed to run track in college, and you didn't play basketball this year. Like, what was that decision like? Kind of switching to go all in, or at least seemingly, like, what was that decision process like for you guys?
For me, definitely football was always my main goal in life. Like, there was a point where I wanted to go to the NFL, and then for sure I wanted to go to D1 college football, and that was like 8th grade, freshman year, sophomore year. But during those years, I was just riddled with injuries, just constantly getting beat up. And so then I started looking towards track a little bit more. And then junior year, I finally got healthy for track season, really had my breakout year. And I kind of realized that track was going to be my thing. And then senior year this year for football, I mean, there was still like football could be in my future possibly, you never know. And then I just kept getting injured more. And then I realized like I really just can't be doing this. It's not worth it for my body. It's not the best thing for me. In track, I can really control my health a lot more, and I also enjoy it a lot, so that's kind of how that went. But football was my original thing, but then I switched to track in like sophomore year, junior year.
For me, obviously, just like Zach, I'd been playing basketball all my life. Like all my life, it was all basketball. I wanted to play in college as well, but I don't know. I think my freshman and sophomore year, things kind of changed with. I don't know. I didn't really like the situation. I kind of got really drained of playing every single season. Didn't really have an off season, and I got drained in a lot of different other aspects. But in general, I just found that it wasn't the best for my mental health. So, track also showed me how a sport environment is supposed to be, and the juxtaposition between those made me go like. Maybe it's time for me to let basketball down and go through this track path. So, I choose to run track, and
Yeah, so I definitely like with what you said about how you can kind of, or what Zach said, like you can kind of control how much you're pushing your body and stuff like that. And you said track was kind of how like a sport should be, you know. What was that experience like your freshman or whenever you guys started track at Hickman, you know, kind of, you know, obviously there's going to be a switch from middle school track. Like obviously I'm experiencing that now. But what was that experience like, you know, getting into Hickman track? What were your first like talks with Coach Johnson or the other coaches on the staff?
For me, I mean, freshman, sophomore year, it was very minimal, like my interaction with coaches and stuff, because, I mean, I was injured for basically all of freshman year, and then sophomore year, halfway through, I got a stress fracture. So I wasn't doing a ton, and I really, at that time, wasn't, like, present in the moment, so I wasn't paying attention to the workouts. I was just going there doing what they said. But really, junior year, I kind of flipped a switch, and I came to realize, like, what we were actually doing, how those things were different than middle school. And, like, especially at Hickman, I became really happy with how the coaches ran things because we focused a lot more on, like, speed training, high-intensity work rather than this, like, long endurance stuff that a lot of sprint schools think is the right thing to do, but it's really not. And so in that time, I became really excited that I got to work with the team and, like, keeping myself healthy and progressing with those intense speed workouts. I got a lot better. And, like, throughout middle school, I was doing a ton of endurance work, and like 400, 800 was like my original race. And then we come to high school, and I started doing more speed work, and I found that the 100 is actually like more type my thing. So it's definitely in high school, at least for us, it's a lot more focused on what you actually need to do. It's more personally inclined versus just everybody doing the same thing, and for us, it's a better overall workouts typically.
For me, last year it was my true like coming out party in track. So like, cause obviously the middle school years didn't really count. I didn't run. So at first I was kind of just out there running just so I could have something to do because I wasn't doing anything for spring break. But I think I started to become more invested. The coaches took me in, like Carson took me in, Z took me in, and I started to like form those bonds, which was really cool. And then, you know, we ended up at state, you know, going through that path in that 4x200 relay. And I think I don't know, that switch to starting to be like a basketball athlete to becoming like a track athlete kind of gradually came as we progressed and as I kind of saw my potential a little bit and as well as our whole team's potential. So that's how it went for me.
Yeah, so kind of, we'll obviously like talk about this season in particular a little bit later, but what were some moments in your early like in your early careers of track and field? Like obviously you said like your coming out party last year, and so like what were some of those moments, whether it was back in Blue Thunder or maybe just last year? Like what have been some of your favorite memories so far, kind of discluding this year but before?
So for me, I got to think back to like my first year of track. Like I think this was like my second meet. I still didn't even have spikes at this time. This was like third grade, and I went out and I PR'd by like huge margins, and I won like the 2, 4, and the 8. And like my coaches were really hyped about it, and like I realized at that point that I could actually like be kind of decent. My coaches were telling me like with these times like you can go to nationals and stuff. So it was a pretty big moment. And then following later in that year, I actually did end up going to nationals, and so that was a really cool experience getting to see that. Later on, I started getting like a little anxiety in national and stuff, so it wasn't always the best experience. But that first experience really just like showed me like how I have like potential in track, and it was a really cool moment. And then obviously last year was really an amazing moment because we came into state. I mean, I was like 12th, 13th ranked, and I think in the 4x2 we were around the same. And then we got 4th place in the 4x2, and I got 6th in the 100, and brought my 100 time down by 0.3 tenths of a second. So I mean, it was a crazy moment. Like we didn't expect any of that, so that was amazing. And it was with, I mean, all the dudes I've been hanging out with, and all the time we put in, it finally got paid off. So, I mean, that was probably the biggest feeling of emotion that I've got from a track race has definitely been there. But I mean, going to nationals and stuff as a little kid, that was also really cool.
My favorite moments, like excluding this year, obviously, were, I don't know, coming into track last year and running at practice like with Zach, because like I didn't know him for real, because obviously like we hadn't been in circles together or anything, but running with them and people are like, okay, he's a little bit fast and kind of figuring out my speed, and that was really cool. And I kind of saw glimpses of a little bit. No, to be honest, I didn't know I'd be like right here, but I was like, okay, I might be a little bit fast. And then also the 4x2 getting to state, like he said, we came in like not even 10th. So we came in truly as underdogs, and seeing us use that underdog mentality in that first round of state and like run like the third best time, and then obviously get fourth at state. Man, that was truly beautiful, standing. I still think about that, like standing on that on like the podiums, like where they have, and walking up after watching Zach finish the race and just being so excited. That was really dope. Like, it was a really dope moment that I probably won't forget.
Yeah, it's like that's a perfect segue into kind of what I want to talk about next, which is just this season in particular. And you kind of both of you touched on being kind of like the underdogs, like you said, in the 4x2 last year at state. And I don't know about you guys, you've obviously been at Hickman longer than me, but going into this season, was there kind of that same mentality, or was there like a different kind of like thought process that you had going into it? Because obviously, if your last race is placing fourth at state together, then there's obviously going to be some different like thoughts about you from the outside sources.
I mean, for me and Langston, I know for sure. I can't say for everybody else, but I mean, I think we wanted to win some stuff. Like we came back, we put in so much. Like throughout the fall, winter, we were consistently grinding, consistently putting in work, and so we knew where we were at. We knew that this season we're going to have potential to do great things. And so, I mean, in my mind, it's always win. I just want to win every race. Honestly, any race I'm in, I want to win. That's the goal for me. Win as a team, win in our relays, win in my solo events. That's my goals always, and that's never going to change. Last year, I really wasn't fully set in any goals. I kind of was going in blind to an extent. And now that I realize that I have this potential, we have this potential, I mean, I'm here to win. I'm here to beat anybody that wants to challenge us, honestly.
Yeah, I still feel like coming into this season, I really felt that like underdog mentality. I mean, I felt it all through last season, and I felt it through this season. I think, and I still feel it, truth be told. And I don't know. I just like Zach said, I want to win as well. And I think one thing that drew us close to each other was, I want to win, you want to win. Let's win together. And I think that shows from how, like he said, how we grinded through the summer, the fall, the winter, and all that work we put in, and we just like worked and put it in together, and we was just grinding and trying to get to those goals. So I can't speak for Zach, but I think that I personally always will like have this chip on my shoulder of like, let's prove people wrong, and let's do our thing.
Yeah, both of you talked about like, kind of like grinding in the off season and stuff like that. So what were some things that you maybe adapted differently compared to, like, I don't know if you guys were just kind of continuing what you were doing like workout wise during the season, or if you adapted any new training methods compared to prior years, or what were you guys doing during those off season months?
So coming out of the track season into the summer last year, I didn't really change much. I kind of kept the intensity going, like consistent workouts. And that ended up not being the best for me because I didn't really have any time to rest. Like my body, it was a long season. I mean, I started training like in February, and I was going through June, July, August, consistent grind. And so my body was fatigued. And so I had to do a little reflecting and realize like what's best for me and stuff. And so I played football for a little bit, got injured obviously as I said earlier, and then took a little bit of a break, came back to track. And then early in that fall, I was doing a lot more lifting weights, a lot more low-intensity stuff rather than kicking it right back up to normal. And I tried to build it kind of slowly up till the start of indoor. So that was like January, like late December, January. So I started doing some more intensity stuff there, occasional like longer workouts, but really not much at all. And then I did get a little hamstring injury, so we kind of just had to just play around that, just be smart with that. But then going into the season, I was just trying to build slowly and make sure that my health is where it needed to be. I was trying not to do too much crazy stuff to, make myself get burnt out or injured later in the season. But mainly the main type of the same type of things that we were doing, like speed work, block work, all explosive, shorter length stuff for the most part.
For me, it was just learning how to be a track athlete. Like I said, I was a basketball athlete. I was a hooper. So a lot of this off season was just learning how to be a track athlete, like these motions with Zach, doing all these workouts that he was doing, and just learning how to adapt my body. Like you said, using that word, like adapt, just learning how to run, learning how to be explosive, learning how to get out of blocks. Because during last season, starting late, I didn't really learn much. It was kind of just, let's put Langston in and let's go. So this off season, I was just learning, and I was taking everything in, and even at like meets, I was taking stuff in, and I was learning, figuring out how my body feels when I'm running this way, if I'm not running fast, if I am running fast, certain body cues for sprinting. Those were all things that I was learning to become a track athlete for real.
So kind of like within that, right? You said learning how to be more of a track athlete. Like, have there been anything you guys have learned from each other? Like, obviously, Zach, you talked about running track all the way to like third grade. So obviously you have a little bit more competitive experience compared to, you just said you came in and just tried to start, running, right? So what were some things that maybe you bounced off each other, or lessons that you learned, I guess?
You want to start off? Maybe?
Yeah, I'll start off. I think, like I said earlier, I think we just bounce off each other the way, like, we work hard. We're pushing each other day in and day out, even through the summer, like I said, through the fall, through the winter, just pushing each other. And I think that's one thing that we, like, gravitate towards, that common goal of, like, success, and that common, like, want for winning. And, yeah, that's what I think that we, like, feed off of each other.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I probably didn't learn a lot of technique stuff from Langston, obviously, since he's new, but it's definitely more of just the competitive nature. Like, it's not necessarily learning, but it's when we're practicing, each time it's a competition. We're not there to just practice; we're there to compete, and so it's kind of learning how to compete in a sense at a more like higher level. Each rep is the same as the race. Each rep is the same thing over and over again. So it's not like you're going in there slow, low energy. You got to be high energy, ready to go every practice, every day. So I think even though I have had a lot of competitive experience, I have learned how to be more competitive, I think, by working with Langston a lot.
Okay, so we've touched on kind of like the preseason stuff right now. Coach Peterson, I put on a poll on my Instagram. He had a question that was like, what has been the difference between last season compared to this season? Now, I'll add a little bit on, like, what was kind of a moment in the early moments of the season that you kind of realized that it would be different, and that you would be able to break these school records that you have been able to?
So, for me, I felt like I knew this was going to happen about in, like, August, September area. Because I knew where Langston was at. I saw where his ceiling was, and I knew he would be fast. Like, I knew there was no doubt in my mind he was going to be fast. Then I heard John was coming along. I already knew he was fast. I was like, there's no doubt in my mind that with the guys we have, with Evan DeBlasi, that we're not going to have success. Like, there was never a doubt. I came to realize more, like, the actual, like, gravity of how good we were later in, like, January, February. Once I started doing indoor with Langston, started seeing Marcus run, and I saw how our times, and I saw how we were running in practice, so I was like, it just has to click. When it clicks, it's going to be a dominant performance because there's no one that has people like us. Like, you look at other teams in the past that have won state, they might have had, like, one or two guys that are fast like us, but we have 3, 4, even 5 dudes that are all very high-level sprinters on our sprint team. So I think once I saw everybody start clicking and start doing what they needed to do, I knew it was set in stone that we were going to have success.
Yeah, just like Zach said, that just having that personnel, seeing all these guys coming in, see the guys that we have, I knew that we had something special. And then also at practice, seeing all of us go at each other, it was like, okay, we want to work. We want to get to where we want to be on May 25th. Like, we want to get there. We all have our goals, and just seeing that hunger. I already touched on that hunger that we've had, or that we have, but seeing that from like seeing that earlier, also in like January during like preseason and stuff with all the other guys too, I was like, yeah, we got something special.
So kind of like my personal thing, like I remember after the Como kickoff, right, which is almost kind of like you don't expect in a way to run your fastest times in the first meet of the season. But I remember hearing that you guys broke the 4x100 meter school record, and I was like, really? Like, I didn't know that it could be happen in the first, meet of the season. And even it wasn't a slow record by any means to break. So kind of after that meet or going into that race, obviously it's a very young 4x1 team that we have, John, Marcus, as you touched on earlier, representing every single grade. Like, what was that kind of preparation? And we talked about it, how you guys were very almost, not necessarily underprepared, but kind of in a way, whether it relay handoffs, like what was that like, going into that first meet?
We really almost were underprepared. Like, we hadn't put a lot of work in. We'd done like maybe 1-2 days of handoffs, and we didn't even have our set order when we ran that race. I was at third leg because we didn't want the younger guys to have to do more than one handoff. So we just kind of really went out there and we're just trying things out. Like, it was just us balling out, having fun, really. Before the race, I was just like, maybe we should break a record. Let's just break the record. Just hyping us up, just going out there having fun, just attacking, just taking advantage of what we got. And we broke it. And it was pretty crazy because the handoffs weren't as what they needed to be, and the order wasn't as what it needed to be. So right there, I was like, we broke it already. The sky's the limit. Like, there's no one that can touch us if we can fix these small things. So that's kind of where I was at. I was like, I know these guys are dogs. If we can fix some things, it's going to be history.
Yeah, for me, coming into this meet, obviously I hadn't ran too many hundreds or 200s open. My PR and like the 100 was like 11.5, and 200 I don't think I even broke like 23. So I knew from all that work we put in, I knew where I was at. I had somewhat of a sense of where I was at, and my mind was just like, prove them. Like, this right here is the moment. Weather was good. This is the moment. So like coming into that like 100, I was just sitting there. I was pacing. I was so excited because I'm like, let's go. Like, this is the moment. They don't know what Langston's been doing. They don't know the hours that Langston's been putting in. So when I like ran pretty well and ran that PR of like 10:72, I was like, I was like, they gonna know and they gonna find out. And then after that, I had ran 10:72, John ran 10:72, Zach ran 10:80, and Marcus ran, I'm pretty sure, like 11:2. After that, with the 4x1 coming up, I was like, okay, guys, we got this. I already knew the numbers. I knew that we were faster than that, 2021 group, 2019 group. I knew that we were faster than them, and I was like, okay, like, even though we may be underprepared, we got this. Let's go ahead and let's do our thing. And we broke that record, and that was really exciting. And then also for the 200 that day, I was just ready. I was like, let's prove to them like what we on this year, what we on for the rest of this year, for the rest of like high school. Like, let's just show them. So ran pretty well. I think like 21:86. I was really happy about that. And I think the exciting thing was I just knew that, like, one thing I've been saying, like, it's only the beginning. Like, I feel like after every meet, it's still only the beginning. We still got a lot left to go. So yeah, I was really pumped. And that after that, I was like, after a lot of instances, I was like, okay, we low-key one of them ones. But after that, seeing everyone flourish already in that first meet, I was like, yeah, we low-key one of them ones.
Yeah, and kind of, just a couple days after that in your guys' next meet, I think, yeah, I'm not sure what meet it was. But, Hillcrest, in Springfield. So I remember I was in class and I got a text that you broke the long jump school record. And I was like, I almost didn't know that you did long jump. So, or I guess it's kind of more for Langston. So, but what was that like? What's long? Because you do high jump as well. Like, what's almost not necessarily if you have a priority of one over the other, but what is that? Whenever it comes to training or whatever, what do you do more, or what do you do for long jump, and kind of like combining the both of them, I guess, like sprinting and jumping, I guess.
I really like long jump because honestly, there's still so much for me to learn. Honestly, if we're being real, I don't spend much time on long jump. Probably only like if maybe 2 days a week. So coming into every meet, it's kind of like, okay, let's just be an athlete. So I had like a previous PR of like 6:30, and then in indoor I also did like 6:55. So I was like, okay, even with no practice, maybe I can do a little bit. Show what I can do. And I think one thing that really attributed to my jumps and how like successful I'd say my jumps are is my speed. That speed down the runway. And Johnson, especially on the days that I do long jump, he really focuses on that runway approach. So one thing that I've learned is how significant it is, and how consistency on the runway will produce good results. So even though I haven't worked on much past that to this point, past that and maybe just the takeoff, runway consistency has been a big thing. And then also just being like, I like dunking and stuff, so honestly, like jumping and just being an athlete is kind of like is in the veins. So whenever I felt like I could break it, and that meet, I was just telling myself like, Coach Liz Peterson, she always just tells me like, go be an athlete. So I just kind of went out there and was just an athlete and jumped that, and I was really excited because I knew that I could get it eventually, but not this soon. So I was really thankful for that, and that opened my eyes of maybe I can do some long jump as well.
Well, okay, so now kind of like to fast forward into kind of where we're at more now during the season. So last week, obviously, Hickman won the team title at CMAC. You dominated all the sprint events. Langston, you broke the 100 and 200 record. Zach, you ran under your previous record. Unfortunately, Langston took it from you. But so kind of what was that experience like at CMAC? It's more you kind of want to see at the CMAC conference because obviously there's only about 7 or 8 teams in the conference. So kind of to see how you measure against the other teams. And obviously Rockbridge was there, who's won the state title the past 3 years, who obviously crosstown rivals. But kind of what were your thoughts going into the meet? What were some things you wanted to do? Like, were you expecting to break those records? Like, what were you thinking?
I think, like, based off our training throughout the year, we had been ready to break some records. Like, we knew how fast we are. We just had not had the best conditions earlier in the year. And so going to that meet, we knew if we had good conditions, we were going to break some records. And just as it was, the wind was not in our face for the first time since the first meet, and we broke the records. So we were super happy about that. But our goals going in, I think our goal was definitely to win it all. We knew it would be tough because we're very dominant in sprinting, but in other things we kind of lacked a little bit. And so we got our points in sprinting, and then we also got some points in other stuff too. And so that's what really brought it together. It was really the team all working together is what got us to win. And so I was really proud of everybody for that, and I was really excited about that because that gives me a lot of hope for a future in state. Because, our sprint times are looking very good right now. Our relay times have large leads on most people in the state. And so I'm not too worried about that sector. I'm more worried about the rest of our team and how that's success. And so, just building our teammates up and helping them have success, I think was the most important thing, and ended up working out, and we won CMAC for the first time in a couple years. And so that was a really exciting and good sign for the future.
Yeah, for me, it was just let it be known. Let it be known the work we've been putting in, the work I've been putting in, and just go out there and just kill. So I knew, especially from last year, not really. It was really, really cold last year, and also I wasn't in any open events. I was like, this year, all right, let's do it. I have the opportunity. We need to take advantage of the opportunity. So I was pretty proud of myself for that, for winning in the 1 and the 2, and then also getting second in long jump. And I was really excited. I was really happy about that. Then also the team, I was so proud of the team because, like Zach said, we know that our sprinting is pretty locked, but seeing all the other events, seeing huge contributions from like whether that was pole vault, whether that was hurdles. We were seeing big contributions, distance, big contributions from everybody, and it makes me feel more solid going into district, sectionals, and state because it's gonna take everybody. It's not gonna take just one person, two people, three people. It's gonna take everybody from every group to come together, be locked in, and do their best. So that winning CMAC was really good, and I think obviously because we hadn't won since 2021, it was really good in that aspect, and then also it was just really good in seeing where we can be if everybody contributes and takes care of business.
Well, okay, so you kind of talked about earlier, like running with your brothers, like the brotherhood of Hickman track. It was probably one of the coolest experiences I've had watching track was being at the finish line, taking pictures, and I see you guys in the 100 like finish like neck and neck, like you were within milliseconds of each other, and then you look up and see broke the school record. Like what was, and almost kind of touching on like the rest of the records you broken because it's on two hands at this point. What have been your kind of reactions to those records? I know you've talked about some of them were a little bit more expected than others, but what have you thought, I guess?
I mean, certain ones were definitely surprising. Like the 4x1, as much as like I wanted to break the record, of course, of that first meet, it still was a surprise to me that we got it, especially with the bad order and all those things. So that was a shock. And after that point, it kind of really set the tone for me. And all the other records have been, I haven't got as much as this guy, obviously. But the ones that we have got, they've been not a surprise. They've been more of an expectation for me. If we didn't get those records, it would have angered me a lot. Like that would be the goal, and that's like the standard, I feel like, at this point. If we're not having success like this continuously, then we're not doing something right because we know we can. So, me personally, I was really happy about breaking my own record again. Of course, Langston had to beat me, but that was really fun. I think I expected myself to do that at some point this year. So while I was super happy, it was also kind of the expectation vibe too. But Langston, I think, mate, he's been going crazy.
Okay, so like Zach said about the 4x1, that was pretty shocking, especially being in the Como kickoff. We didn't have our order. Like I knew, obviously, like I said, with the personnel, like that we were gonna beat it, but that soon was kind of crazy to me. I already touched on long jump, but for the 100, when I ran like 10:55, I felt like, honestly, I saw that coming. I saw how I was running in practice. I saw that it was aligning, so I felt like that was coming. And I was like, this ain't even close to what the end's gonna look like. In the 200, I was a little shocked. I was a little bit shocked on the 2 because of how much I broke it by. I think I knew that I was running fast. I knew I was around that 21.7, 21.8, maybe 21.6 range, but to break it by that much, I was really excited about that. And I was really like, oh, shoot, maybe this is where I'm at. Maybe where can I be at the end of the season? So that was really exciting. And then also the other day with the 4x2, I knew that was coming too because we had our first meet, we ran 127.6 and the record was 127.3, and I was like, okay, not the first meet, but like the first time that we ran it this year, 127.6 at Ford Zumwalt. I was like, okay, this was expected. We broke our best from state last year, so I was like, okay, I know we're gonna get this eventually. So breaking it at Hickman Relays was truly dope. I knew it was gonna happen. We still had pretty bad handoffs. I'm low-key handoff liability, as Zach said the other day, but that was still sweet. And then also the 2248 the other day at Hickman Relays. I low-key knew that was going to happen as well, knowing the personnel, knowing me and Zach are going to run a really good 200 leg. I think we both ran like 21.7 legs. John, I don't have anything to say about John. John ran like a 48.06. I'm just going to leave that there. And then Sean also running a 157 split. Seeing that really made me happy for everybody because, like, if we can do that, especially I know because John ran it he ran a longer leg for that too. So it's like, shoot, was he gonna run in the open? So yeah, seeing those marks, I knew coming in that everybody was gonna do our thing. But breaking it by 4 seconds was crazy. I didn't know that we would run like 3:29 and the record was like 3:33 low. So I was real happy because I was waiting right outside the little van that has all the times and stuff.
Yeah.
And when he yelled it, we all just kind of went ecstatic because we were like, oh my gosh, we were all just so ecstatic. We were all so hyped. So it was really dope.
Yeah, so I mean, I remember you guys walked over to like, the outdoor record board with all the different times and just thinking that next year it's just going to be 2024, 2024, 2024, So kind of as we move on kind of into the next segment, kind of talking about the future, right? What do you want to have said about this season if you want, no matter if the season were to end today, if there, hypothetically, if there weren't a state meet, if, never mind, we're not even going to say that. But what would you have to say about this season in as few words as possible or as many you want to say?
I mean, I would hope that people would just remember the mindset that we had, kind of. As much as like our achievements are great to look at, I feel like our mindset is going to be more transferable to like later groups. Like, because I mean, there's teams in the past who are really good, and we look at them and we see the records, but we don't know anything about them, right? So if our mindset of we want to grind, we want to hit these goals can be passed on, the other generations of Hickman can have success too. The next couple years, once we're all gone, they can still have success because they'll still have that mindset that they want to win and they want to have success. And so the mindset's got to be the most important thing.
Yeah, that grind and that goal setting, that's what I'd really want to be remembered because, like, I still think, like, even now, we just hunting goals. We all got our goals and we're just hunting them. And I think that's truly the beautiful thing. Like Zach said, accolades gone, achievements gone. I'd really love people to see that mindset, the mindset to win, that like winning culture. I'd really want that to be passed down because that's important. If you're going at each other every day, I practice like we did and like we are continuing to do, those results will follow. But it all starts with that mindset and that willingness to win and that want and just that intense want to win.
Yeah, so kind of as I said, we'll move on a little bit to kind of the future aspect next couple months, even next year. So, Zach, you're signed, committed, whatever you want to say, to run at Mizzou next year. First off, biochemistry, right? Is that the major?
Biochemistry, yeah.
Big smart guy, big science guy.
I mean, I want to go into the medical field, and we decided that was like the best track for me. So it's going to be tough, but it's the thing I'm most interested in. So I'm excited about it.
Okay, so what was, for anyone at home, obviously Langston, you will probably start if you haven't already going through this, but what was that recruitment process like? Whether you were touring schools, all different coaches talking to you, what was that? If you had to give a synopsis to a freshman in high school who is maybe playing multiple sports or is excelling in one, what would you tell them?
The most important thing that you should do is just reach out, I think. Because, even though I was hitting certain times and I was hitting the recruiting standards for like hundreds of schools, I'm only getting emails, messages from a few of these schools. And so it's really up to you to reach out to these coaches and keep being continuous with the reaching out. Because, there were schools, like Mizzou even, I emailed 3 times before I got a response. And there was other schools where I did the same thing. And a lot of my emails that I sent out didn't come through with responses. A lot of them didn't. But at the end of the day, you just got to put your name out there because there are teams that will want you, that have a spot for you. You just have to find them. And that can be really hard in track and field because as much as some people say it's easier to get recruited because all you have to do is hit a time, but in actuality, that doesn't tell you anything about the person. It just is a time. And so when a coach is looking at a track, like a team, and they just see this guy hit a time, that doesn't tell you if they have potential. That doesn't tell you what their work ethic's like. It doesn't tell you anything about them. So the main thing you need to do is reach out to coaches, whether it be email, Twitter, whatever, and get in contact with them and keep staying in contact with them until you find a spot that works for you, find a spot that's affordable, and so just keep reaching out is what I would say.
So for you, Langston, obviously, is junior year whenever you coaches can start talking to you?
Junior
Okay.
year, junior year.
So kind of as you begin, have you had coaches talked to you yet?
I've reached out with them,
Okay,
so
cool,
yeah,
cool.
we've
Okay.
been in correspondence a
So
little bit.
as you kind of get into that stage of the process, right, what are some things that you'll be looking for in colleges, whether it's like different coaches or different, philosophies that coaches may have? Like because you talked about earlier with high school, kind of you wanted to run track or kind of go into track for specific reasons. What are some reasons that you would want to go to a specific school to run in college?
One thing, a little thing that Zach touched on is kind of Coach Johnson and Coach Carson, their philosophy in that high intensity, like low volume work. I really like that, and I feel like that will put me in the best place and like in the best place to like run fast. So that, and then also a coach that sees and understands my potential, because I feel like our coaches really do that super well, and I really appreciate that. I appreciate the communication with them, that relationship with them. So the big thing will be that coach, and then also exploring these programs is like the winning mentality. Like even if they haven't done too well historically, if I see like that winning mentality, that wanting to win, that just that grinding mentality as well, I'm gonna be like, okay, I'll really take a really deep look into that program, because those two things are really the big like attributes that I'd love to see in a college that I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. So kind of we'll kind of bring it back to kind of the season, right? Senior year, junior year for you. What are some things maybe, because in talks we've had, you're always talking about not reflecting too much on performances now, but more what we can improve on, right? What are some things that you might not change anything or in training or whatever, but what do you think some things that if you do improve on, you could be, because obviously you have potential to be great. You're already running really fast times, but to be even better, what do you think some like constructive criticism for yourself? What would you tell yourself to improve on, I guess?
For me personally, I would say have consistency in my block starts, because typically I am a pretty good starter out of the blocks, but throughout this year I've been super inconsistent. And I mean, CMAC was the first time I really had a good start. And so I think for me, especially, if I can stay consistent with my block work, my times will stay consistently lower. But then as a team, I think we have to get handoffs. I mean, handoffs got to be the number one thing, especially since, I mean, we're going faster than most teams. So the faster you are, the harder it is to time up the handoffs. So we need to put more work in and more consistent work too, because we really haven't had a relay race this year that has had perfect handoffs. So as much as like we are having success, there's so much room for improvement. And so we need to have good handoffs, and then we just need to be consistent with our reps. Me for my blocks, handoffs, how we're running curves, things like that. We just need to be consistent with everything, because when it comes down to state, it may not be the day where we pull out our craziest times, but it needs to be the day where we pull out a consistent time that's going to get us the job done.
Yeah, just like Zach said, that consistency and continuing with that consistency, because that's one thing that I was literally talking to Coach Peterson the other day, like your coach. We were just talking about that consistency, and at the end of the day, on May 24th and May 25th, it's the people who are the most consistent and that will get the job done. But for me in my like open 1 and 2, like Zach said, it's really my blocks. I feel like getting that confidence out the blocks, exploding out the blocks, being that explosive athlete that I know I am, letting that translate down to the blocks, just so I can be a better starter and get off on the right start, because I know if I get out well or even decent, it's just a wrap. And like I'm like just saying that. And then also kind of like my transition phase, like even if I get out the blocks like a little bit late, not getting discouraged, and trusting that drive phase and staying in it, and then getting up and then transitioning, getting up into my top end speed. So not cutting it off before, because sometimes even in that 100 when I went 10:55, I was talking to Carson, there's so much I could improve on. And one thing was, I feel like I could lengthen out my drive phase a little bit more. Like I stood up and started running a little bit early, because this man got out the blocks like So it kind of made me panic a little bit. But honestly, if I extend that dry phase, get up to my top speed when I need to, I think that'll be good. And then also for long jump, um, just putting in more work, like trying to get in more days and long jump, trying to fit in more days. I think that'll help me out. And yeah, also handoffs. That's a really big one for me, especially because like to put myself out there, most of the handoff problems are with me, and I really hate that. Whenever he brings it up to me, I get kind of pissed because I'm like it's me. But working on that, trying to get more relaxed, but also be more intentional um, with like how fast I'm getting. If I'm getting out too fast, if I'm getting out too slow, truly learning these cues. If I'm getting out too quick or not, like getting out before he gets to that tennis ball. Just learning those cues, ingraining them in my head because I know that could be really detrimental in state, in sectionals, and districts if I don't play my part and if I don't learn that just myself. So that's one thing like I really want to work on.
Yeah, so for, obviously there is, some people might think that track is just not like a lot of other sports when it comes to, the postseason. But in Missouri, right, you have districts, then you got sectionals, and then you got state. So what are some things that you'll do within those meets to kind of make sure that you're saving it for the latter stages, right? Because the main goal is May 25th, get on that podium, right? So whether it's talking to John and Marcus, who are obviously younger than you guys, probably a little bit inexperienced when it comes to those postseason stages, what are some things that you'll be telling them or telling yourself and trying to do to prepare and get ready whenever you're going through those stages?
The thing I always like to tell people is just to be confident because we've done the things that we need to do. We have the ability to do them. We just need to do them. Be confident in who you are. I think, for example, like on the handoff steps, if we're confident enough to trust our steps, the handoffs will be good. If we're confident to run our own race, not think about the person next to you, stay in your own lane, run it how you plan to run the race, we'll have success. And like going into districts, we may not put all of our best dudes in the same relay and stuff, so we have to make sure that each of those person is confident and ready to go. It's not as much as I don't want people being worried about the possibility of failure. I want them to be excited about the possibility of success. So it's almost like go here and take it. Take advantage of what we have. Don't worry about the possibilities of a bad handoff, a drop baton, bad block start. Just go out and take advantage, do what you can do your best, and be confident doing that, and we will have success, and we'll get to state.
Yeah, like Zach said, making sure that everyone is ready, making sure that everybody is willing and ready to put in that work and is ready when their name is called. Because, like he said, we might not be having our best, for example, relays out at that time, but we need everybody ready and everybody ready to play that part. And for me, I think the postseason will be a little bit different than last year because last year, especially, I was kind of just in that 4x2, and this year, like God willing, I'll be probably in like the 1 and the 2 and the 4x1 and maybe like long jump or something. So listening to my coaches, listening to my teammates about because they have much more experience than me. Even John running at that AAU level, because obviously he's just a dog. But I digress. Just listening to them about whether that's taking in food, staying out the sun, kind of staying focused, doing little things to save my energy, keep my body ready, because I know even from some of those meets like Hillcrest, when I'm running a lot of events, that it might take a little toll on my body, and it's something that I'm not used to. So just kind of also just embracing that, like Zach said, being confident, and also just listening and soaking up all of the experience that I have around me, all of that wisdom in that like round running, and just applying that.
Also, adding on to that a little bit is, with us having a lot of success, there's possibility of the complacency, the people acting like just because we're having success, they don't need to practice hard, they don't need to train hard. So I think that's definitely something I'm going to push towards people is to continue to work with the same aggressiveness that we've had this whole year and continue to stay focused. Even if we dominate races at districts, we need to stay locked in and focused at sectionals and state. It's the same thing every time. It's the same level of focus. Got to stay consistent and just keep working. And so that's another thing. Just wanted to add.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on that too because that's one big thing that people have like brought up to me, especially with the early success this year. I truly have a fear of like complacency because I know like complacency will kill your goals if you get complacent. So that's one thing that I know and I'm conscious of, and I know Zach knows and Zach is conscious of. So just pushing that to our teammates that, okay, yeah, we won conference. Yeah, we're breaking these records, but this isn't our end goal. And if we want to get or like be where we are or be where we want to be on May 25th, we need to stay locked in and keep the same hunger that we have to this day that we've had that's been fueling us for all of this season. We need to keep it, or we won't be there, and we're going to be frustrated that we did get complacent and did settle and be like, okay, this is fine. We don't want to do that. We do not want to be complacent.
Yeah, so this for on Saturday, right, is big, probably one of the biggest meets you guys will go to in Kirkwood, like 30-plus teams. Now, on the table, there's 2 more school records that you could break in the 400 and the 4x4. So kind of take me through if you guys are going into it as a meet to do that, or if it's more kind of to fine-tune the little things like, the handoffs and confidence. Like, is that what you're going to be doing, or just treating it like, let's go out and run as fast as we can,
So for me, I haven't got a good 200 time this year, really. I'm running with him in practice. He just set the state lead. I'm running with John. He just went 21.8. And so I know I can go sub 22 and things like that, but I just haven't had a good opportunity this year. So for me, Kirkwood is the 200 day. I'm trying to run my best 200. I'm trying to PR finally and break that 22 mark. That's my goal. I don't think we're doing the 4x4. We're not doing
okay.
We're not doing the 4x4. Langston's going to be in the open 4, but it's not. We're not trying to go for too many records. I mean, maybe he is, maybe John is. I don't know, but it's more of just things that we haven't really took full advantage of early in the year. Things like that we might not have a good time here, might want to get a time here and something else. That's kind of what this meet is for us. Because going into districts in a week and a half, we really don't need to be beating up our bodies doing all these 400s and tons of events. It's just not smart. So I'm just trying to focus, go out and run the best 200 I can, and hopefully have some success.
Yeah, for me with districts coming up, I'm probably going to take it a little bit light. I am running the 400, though. I'm really excited because I have not run an open 4 yet, but I have seen, obviously, at Blue Springs what I can run in the 4x4 split. So I wanted to give it a try. Also, like, have a mark of where I am now for myself, and then, as well with, like, college coaches and stuff. So I don't know if I'm at that 48.5 that Gary was at in 79, but, I'm probably going to just give it my best shot in general and just go out there and just be a track athlete, be an athlete, give it my best like I always do. And then I think long jump as well. I'm pretty sure I'm doing long jump, but keeping that consistency, like I said, because consistency is going to get us where we want to be. So getting that consistency, also just getting good long jump reps in. That's another thing I'm going to be focused on. But yeah, like Zach said, we have districts in a week and a half, so we're trying to keep it light, but also get good reps in, work on some things that we haven't really worked on. So those 2 are the main goals for me coming into Saturday.
Okay, so we can like go back to state, right? So May 25th, Jefferson City. Obviously, the goal, not obviously, I'd probably say you guys' goals are probably to win a couple state titles, right?
Yep.
Now, don't want to kind of focus on too much of the far away, it's not even that far away, but you get the gist. But kind of at the end, if you get done with the state meet, what are some things you want to, as this is your last track season in high school, what are some things that you kind of want to look back and know that you did, like that you gave it all, You know, like because you always want to finish and be, hey, I did my best, you know. So what are some things that you know you can control and to do your best at that stage?
I mean, for me, obviously it's control your leg of the relay, control your own race, do the best you can, obviously. But then there's also the fact for me, it's going to be keeping my teammates up, keeping my teammates together. Because obviously I'm the senior out of the relay group. We got Langston who's a junior, he's a leader, but everybody's younger than me. So to an extent, I got to be there to support and set an example for people. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to come out there with energy. I'm going to come and put everything I got on the line, and I'm going to run my own race. I'm going to focus on what I can control. I'm going to focus on my blocks, when I leave for the handoffs, how I'm handing off to people. And I'm not going to worry about the teams next to me. I'm going to worry about keeping our team doing what we can do. Just going out there and just fighting, just putting everything I got on the line. It's pretty simple. There's not too much thinking that goes into it. It's just do what you know you can do and do what you've been practicing for.
Yeah, for me, just my attitude, my effort, and my communication. Like Zach said, the attitude with each other. Like even if something like bad happens during this process, continuing to be continuing to not be complacent if stuff goes well, and just continuing to do our thing, having that mindset, having that striving attitude. Just our effort. That's the biggest thing for me at least, is just continuing to give it 100% each time, all the way through that day and even beyond. Just all like making sure that we're all striving, or at least for myself, just making sure I'm striving to get there, taking all the steps that are needed, and just like staying on the course, like even at like state, just staying on the course, just staying locked in, and then just communication with each other, like I said, whether that's all obviously with handoffs and stick, but just like Zach said, just keeping everybody upbeat, keeping everybody happy and confident, because that will contribute to a winning team.
Yeah, so kind of what I want to ask everyone that I have on is kind of what would you tell yourself, your younger self, whenever you were first getting into the sport, first year in high school, like if you had to give yourself advice or kind of be like a quick disclaimer, not necessarily a spoiler alert of what's going to happen, but if you just had to be like, hey, do this, you know, like what would you say?
That's tough. That's very tough for me. I would probably tell myself to keep my options more open, just because for me I was so focused on football, like track wasn't even in my mind, so I realistically lost like 2 years of track that I could have gotten a lot better in high school. So that's probably what I would tell myself, is keep your options open and try everything. Even like to better yourself for track, it's not bad to play other sports, because track at the end of the day is a pretty repetitive sport. It can be very hard on the body, especially sprinting. So doing track all the time is probably not the best idea. Doing other sports is going to be good for that. It's going to work your body in different ways. So I would just tell myself, play football, but also run track, and just be aware of what you're doing and just get better whatever you do. Just always try to improve yourself no matter what. And set goals. Goals are always huge. Because if you set goals, then you know you have something to work for, and your work ethic, motivation is just going to get better from that. So that's what I would say.
I think for me, I would tell Lang to just put myself first. I feel like for so long I was stuck playing basketball because I felt like it was my thing and felt like it was my thing to do, but I didn't realize that honestly it was kind of bad for my mental health. I had lost my self-confidence, and so I wish I would have kind of stepped out a little bit earlier. But I think another thing I tell my younger self is just trust God. I'm like really proud of myself even from last year for trusting God in the process of like, Lord, I don't know why I'm leaving basketball this year before my junior year. I'm going to pop off. I'm going to be on varsity. Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but I trust you, and I'm going to follow your steps, and I'm going to follow your will. So just I continue to tell my younger self that, and I want to tell my future self that too, just to continue to trust God.
Okay, so now's the best part. Talk about some not necessarily hot takes, but some popular topics in the running world. So as you know, I posted on my story a question box for some questions.
Yep.
So first off, from Richmond, I don't know who this is,
Okay.
but do you have any tips on getting faster?
Tips on getting faster. I would say understand how to actually get faster, because people think getting faster just means running, but that's not what it is. To get faster, you need to be doing high-intensity sprints. So that means that you're running max effort, and this isn't for 400 meters, this isn't for 500 meters, this is like 40 meters. Your body can't maintain this high intensity for that long. And so you need to be doing these high-intensity sprints, and then you need to be resting. You need to have that 24 hours recovery, that 48 hours recovery, so your nervous system, so your tendons can solidify and improve. Because if you're not doing that, you're not going to improve the fast-twitch muscle fibers. You're not going to get faster. You need to be also making sure to hit every part of your race. So if you're a sprinter, you got to be hitting the blocks. You got to be hitting your drive phase. So whether that be getting in the weight room, getting on sleds, watching videos of you do blocks to get your technique right, all that you need to do. And then you got to also get your end of your race, your lactic work, your speed endurance stuff. And if you hit your speed endurance stuff, your high intensity sprints, and your starts, you should be able to get faster and improve rapidly. So for me, often that's analyzing my races, analyzing my reps in practice, analyzing what's been working for me on the track, what's been working for me in the weight room. Be open-minded in what you do. Make sure not to do too much. Doing too much is often the worst thing. For me, that was me freshman, sophomore year. I was doing football workouts, track workouts, and injuries were just plaguing me like crazy. So making sure not to do too much and making sure to take advantage of the time that you do work out. And analyzing, improving, being present in the moment is very important.
For me, just being fascinated with the process. Obviously, I didn't really know much before, and I was kind of just out there running. But getting with people who have that wisdom, who have that fascination, have that experience like Zach, and like feeding off of that, getting all the knowledge you can, getting all the knowledge from Coach Peterson, getting all that knowledge from Coach Carson, and applying that. And that's how I got faster, especially learning about the blocks, learning about truly getting fast, doing that high intensity, like low volume work, learning how to work on the blocks effectively, learning how to get in the weight room to work on explosiveness, working on the lactic work that really sucks when I'm running those 200 repeats for that, the 3 200s for that lactic work. So just becoming like sort of a well-rounded sprinter in that aspect of making sure that you don't have any holes in your game. Yeah.
Okay, so this one's a little bit more lighthearted. So from Alex Brown, who's your favorite?
Alex Brown.
Who's your favorite sophomore?
That'd be Alex Brown. That's for me. I love Alex, man.
Okay. So here's another one from the Eastmans.
Okay.
Okay. How and I quote, "How do you run so fast? Help a distance runner out."
I mean, distance, I'm not as educated, obviously, but sprinters, it's a genetic. There's a genetic proportion to it, obviously. I mean, training helps a lot, but at the end of the day, if you're not genetically built to sprint, you're not going to be fast. I mean, there's a lot of different variables that go into that, like your tendon stiffness, your muscle insertions, things like that. But, I mean, just see what works for you. If you're not a sprinter, don't sprint. If you're a distance runner, run distance. Just feel it out.
Hey, man, shout out to Eastman's, but yeah, kind of just, I couldn't run distance. My lactic would kind of kill me, so kind of just sticking in your lane. And, like, if you got them fast twitch, fast muscle fibers, go ahead and sprint. But if not, you might have to run that 16, that 32, at 5K. So, yeah.
Okay, so from another Eastman, Ellie Eastman.
Okay.
What does your off season look like? So, like, you talked about, training, but, like, will you take any time off after the state meet, or what's that like?
For me, definitely this year I will. Last year I didn't, and that was a fatal mistake because my nervous system got fried, and I was running slower and kept getting slower. This season, I'll probably take, basically the whole month of June off before I really start doing anything, and then through the summer I won't be doing much at all. Like, I'll be sprinting maybe 1 day a week, maybe 2 if I'm really want to. But nothing crazy. Keeping it really light, letting your body ease into things slowly because it is a long season. I mean, for me at Mizzou, I'm going to be running all the way till May, June maybe, so it's going to be a long time. So just making sure to ease into things and be smart about your body, not doing too much because it takes time to truly improve your speed, so there's no need to rush it.
Yeah, same thing for me. Just making sure I'm taking it easy, like also enjoying the things that I have planned in the summer. Getting in the gym a little bit, working on that explosiveness, maybe just a tad bit. Working on the track as well, probably like only one time a week. But yeah, just kind of like you said, just building gradually because we don't want to like keep on pushing after that. We're gonna need to kind of like ramp it down and then like get it up a little bit towards the fall. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so from a member of the 4x4, Evan DeBlas.
Big DeBlas.
What do you think your strengths are?
Ooh, my strengths. Okay. I would say my two strengths are my block starts and my speed endurance would probably be my two biggest things. I tend to lack in the middle of the race. I tend to be a little weak in the hamstrings. I mean, I've had a little injury for the last couple months, so that's kind of probably lended to that a little bit. But I'm usually pretty good out of the blocks. I got short legs, so it obviously helps. I'm also pretty powerful. I lifted a lot of weights. I mean, I played football, so I was lifting all the time. So I'm pretty strong out of the blocks, so I can push well. And then once top speed, just my overall years of running track, just like the build-up over time, I've gained a pretty good lactic endurance. So towards the end of my races, I usually tend to thrive a little bit more than most people, I would say. I would say those are my two strengths.
I think one big strength for me is my mentality. Like I've said, just having that underdog, that chip on my shoulder, just ready to grind, ready to kind of just go out there and just kill everybody. But like on the track sense, I think my transition, I think I transition really well. And then once I get up to top speed, I feel like that's where I'm really, really cooking. Like I feel like a lot of people can't really match what I got like top speed wise. So like I said, being a well-rounded sprinter, that means I got to work on that. One thing I want to work on, going off of the strength, sorry to Blasi, but work on, like I said, work on the blocks and then work on holding that top speed. And then I think I'll be good. But that top speed and that transition, that like middle phase, that's where I'll be cooking for real.
Okay. So, yeah.
I forgot to talk about like the analytical part of how I train. So for me, like if I wouldn't have like really analyzed how my body works and how I've been training, then I wouldn't be here today. I'd be injured. I probably wouldn't even be running track. That's probably my biggest strength now that I think about it, is my ability to really think about the muscles and how my body's working and what is weak, what is lacking, and how I can warm up to maybe activate something, how I can train a little bit differently to fix something. That's kind of been my biggest strength, I feel like, because it's really helped me transform myself to be somebody with like shin splints, weak ankles, to much stiffer ankles, much stronger ankles, from, pulling my glute to having like my glutes be one of my strengths when I'm running. I think the analytical part for me and just being completely like involved in how I have to adapt and how my body works is probably my biggest strength.
Oh shoot, I guess I got another strength. One of my other biggest strengths is probably my willingness to learn. I feel like that's one of the things that I found myself doing, like especially running with Zach. Just found myself wanting to learn, wanting to soak up all the information that he has, because I've noticed that obviously gets me a little bit better. And truth be told, brother, I'm not here where I am today without working out with you and without like our relationship. So I appreciate you. I haven't said that, and I want to say it on camera. So yeah, my boy. But yeah, just my willingness to learn, soak up that information from coaches, all the people who really have that knowledge, and applying that to my own races and my own running.
Okay, so as I told you guys, Mr. Rodeman, right?
Mr. Rodeman.
Two post-it notes of questions. A couple were already asked, so they're kind of within the. But, and I quote for Zach, I hear you and your brother sometimes play pool. Are you any good? And could you win any money playing?
Could I win money? Probably not. I'm not that great, I'm going to be honest. There's a lot of people that are better than me. I've seen Roman play at billiards before. He looks pretty solid, I won't lie. Maybe, I mean, I don't have a pool table at my house. If I did, I might be better than him. Just he might need to watch out. I am a little soft. I'm all right, you know. When I play with the fam, you know, I'll get warmed up. I'll start knocking some in. But I mean, there's a lot of people better than me. My brother sucks. He's terrible. He's terrible. Jacob, you need to put in some work. You're not good at pool. Yeah, that's all I gotta say.
Okay, so now for Langston, are you better at singing or dancing? This is from Rodeman.
Dancing, I cannot sing, Rodeman. I cannot sing, but I'll be
That was good.
You want the mic, bro?
Definitely dancing. No singing. Please don't let him sing.
Okay, he's low-key exaggerating. They always tell me at practice and stuff that I don't know no lyrics.
He does not know any lyrics, bro. You know zero lyrics.
Bro.
He'll go up to sing a song and be like, that's exactly how it will sound.
He's low-key exaggerating. I feel like as long as you know the chorus and a couple lyrics, you'll be fine. But dancing, I feel like I got a little rhythm. You know what I'm saying? We put on some songs. I'm doing a little dancing. Zach got a little rhythm, too. We be dancing a little bit, you know what I'm saying? But, yeah, like at practices and stuff. So, yeah, dancing for sure.
Okay, so
Yapping.
okay, so now these are ones that I wrote down.
Okay.
So I obviously have talked to you guys a little bit about these, but what do you guys think about the new Olympic uniforms?
I don't like them, to be honest. They're not that great. They're really not. I don't understand how this big mega billion-dollar company can't put out a good uniform, but they just happen to not. Like the font, like what is the font? I don't know. It's terrible. There's some teams that have good ones, but USA, it is not it at all. I don't understand the pattern. It doesn't look good in my opinion.
Yeah, USA and kind of Nike was low-key the losers in it because I'm pretty sure the USA ones didn't look too well. Was it Kenya that had like the yellow and yellow's not? It was like this like light greenish.
Yeah, it was like orange and lime green.
That's not it. That's not even their colors. But honestly, I'm pretty sure Jamaica when they Jamaicas look really nice when they were at that one Jamaican like sprinting event for like the little young.
They're like national championships.
Yeah, they're national championships. Jamaica look really good. Pumas just look pretty good. Qatar's was pretty nice. So yeah, Puma was the winners. Also, I'm pretty sure Great Britain and Adidas.
Yeah.
Adidas low-key did their thing. But yeah, Nike, just everything on Nike just wasn't really that good.
Not good at all.
Okay, so almost kind of like the same theme as the Olympics. A purple track. You said you liked it, but what do you still like it? Like, what are your thoughts?
I think a purple track would be kind of weird. I won't lie to you. I think it'd be an interesting vibe. The blue track I like, but like a black track, I don't like a black track really. I think it absorbs too much heat. Just doesn't look good really. I mean, I think the classic red or blue are the two best options, but I would be open to like a light purple maybe. That might look good.
That's what it's like a lavender.
It's okay. It's a lavender. Yeah, I mean, that
It
might be
looks
tough.
good.
That could be tough. I don't know. If Hickman got a purple track, I don't think I'd be mad. I think that would be pretty dope. There's not many places that have purple tracks, so that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that they had the little like they showed. If you look it up on like Google Images, you can see like images of the like track a little bit, right? Or am I tripping? Okay, I looked and I low-key liked it.
Yeah.
Like Zach said, obviously it's a little bit weird because you don't really see purple tracks, and I think it will be a little weird to look at first. But honestly, I think that's dope. I think that's a cool change. Hickman, if we had it, that would low-key be cool, but we don't even have 8-lane tracks, so I don't think we'll get a purple track.
Johnson, take notes.
Yeah, Johnson, please. 8 lanes. But I think it's pretty cool.
Okay, so who on the same team as the Olympics? Who's your favorite like runner of all time?
Ooh, of all time, that's really tough. Come back to me.
Okay.
For a second.
Oh man, that's a little bit difficult. Obviously, you gotta go like Bolt. Bolt. His stature, just how fast he was. His like swagger, that was really cool. Also, really like Asafa Powell. I feel like he's like a really strong runner. He's low key overlooked because of just the powerhouse of sprinting in that decade. But he was a really good sprinter as well. Really cool. I liked his running form was just beautiful, just a beautiful runner. And oh shoot, come back to me. I probably got another one too.
I would say my top three would have to be Christian Coleman, Usain, and then Marcel Jacobs in his prime. Well, he might be coming back. I don't know. We'll see.
He's running. I think this week.
He is running. We'll see if he's back to his former shape. But I mean, Christian Coleman, like his block starts are I just love watching him. Like watching him slow mo on repeat. It's like a beautiful work of art to me. So I love watching him. I mean, you obviously got Usain. He's the greatest of all time. How could you not like him? You got to respect him. And then Marcel Jacobs, he's just so technically sound. And he really came out of nowhere as like an underdog. It really caught my eye when he won the Olympics. And I've been following his journey and how he trained and stuff. And I really like fell in love with it, kind of got super interested. And it kind of led me to me like analyzing how I run and stuff. So he was like a big, not him technically, but he was like a part in how I started to learn about how to run and stuff. So I gotta definitely give him one of my favorite spots.
I guess for my third one, because that was two, gotta go Fred Curley. I feel like I'm showing love to the big sprinters because, like, obviously being 6'2", 6'3" on a good day. We'll say I'm 6'3". I gotta look up to those. I'm not 6'1". Everybody knows I'm not 6'1". Ben, I'm 6'2", 6'3", right?
Yeah.
I think so. But anyway, gotta show love to them because obviously those are the people who I watch whenever I'm trying to learn more about sprinting because their bodies are like similar to mine. So yeah, I like how Fred be running. Even though Fred's low key, didn't really have a good world championships. I still like his obviously starting at the 4, going down. His journey is really cool, and then also just his dominance in that 2, dominance in that 1 is really cool to see.
Okay, so do you guys have any – this is kind of a mix of a couple people's, like, questions, suggestions. Do you have any, like, pre-race rituals or anything that you have to get – that you have to get ready for a meet? So, like, music, food, etc., like anything else?
If it's sunny outside or if it's during the day, I got to have sunglasses on at this point. Last year, it started off – I just got some cheap sunglasses from Amazon. And it was just like trying to look cool or whatever. But now it's like the sun's not in your eyes, you know. It's not affecting you as much. I got to wear the sunglasses. It just fits. I don't know. It just helps me. I feel more comfortable with them. So that's like the number one thing I need. Rituals. Well, actually, usually I do like to have a little candy with me, a little burst of energy before I run. It's kind of a little controversial maybe, but.
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, a little Marshawn Lynch, a little Sour Patch Kids, a little something. Before the race, get a little energy going, especially after the race too, help that recovery. And then, I mean, pre-race, you obviously got your block starts and stuff, but nothing too crazy.
For me, just being locked in that whole meet day, or especially just getting off the bus, getting to that destination, being locked in, listening to music on the way there. You know, sometimes I start off with a little R&B. Started off with a little R&B throughout the day, but then I get to that OT7 Kwani, I get to that Young Thug, I get to that, that rap to like really get me turned up, really get me in that mindset to kill. So music is really important in my life, especially in running, because it's that fuel.
I mean, Zach, who are your favorite artists then?
Favorite artists? For a meet day, I mean, you got to go Drake. Drake's just a legend. But I am with Langston for the most part. Like, I'm not listening to music before a race. I usually like to kind of just be in my own thoughts because, I mean, obviously in the blocks at the race, you're not going to have music. So I kind of like, in the warm-up, I don't like to have music. But bus ride down, I'm listening to, like, the slower music, the Drake, the little Party Next Door, a little Lauryn Hill, that's kind of the vibe I go with. I like to keep it calm, keep myself relaxed, just not worrying about anything. So I'm not trying to get the energy up too soon.
Yeah, back to that music thing. On that first part of the little bus ride, like Zach said, big on the Lauryn Hill, big on that neo soul. I might throw in a little Jill Scott if you know, you know. I know a lot of y'all don't know. A lot of old school too, maybe a little Teddy Pendergrass. Get in that little, y'all don't know what I'm talking about. Little Teddy Pendergrass. Might throw in a little Mike Jack. But a little bit, everybody knows Mike Jack. I'm not going to go on my little tangent. But that little old school, maybe get some Anita Baker, some little Sweet Love in there, Luther Vandross. I'm not going to stop. But y'all know, man, just the old stuff, get me in that mood, you know what I'm saying? And then, like I said, we're going to go from that, maybe to a little Drake mix, a little hip-hop mix. So we go from that old soul to the R&B. Also maybe a little Summer Walker sprinkled in that journey. You got to play your music really accordingly. Maybe a little Summer Walker, a little SZA, Daniel Caesar, get into that Drake, maybe that pop rap type things. And then you get into that. Maybe that drill. I'm playing Chief Keef. I'm playing Finito. I'm playing like Love Sosa. I'm playing Finally Rich. Like I'm playing that whole Chief Keef album. And that's that kill mode, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay, so last question. Arguably probably one of the maybe most discussed in track. Socks or no socks with your spikes?
Oh.
The answer is no socks. I mean, Langston was once a sock guy. I changed him. I brought him to the no sock era. I mean, if you want to be fast, you want to look fast, you don't wear socks. I'm not gonna lie. If you're wearing socks in your spikes as a sprinter, you're not fast. There's just no way. There's just no. It's just not. There's just no way. You gotta feel with the ground. If your spikes fit correctly, you shouldn't be able to wear socks because then there's gonna be too much room. You know what I'm saying? Like it should fit your foot like a glove because we're trying to be close with the ground, contact with the ground, quick off the ground. We don't need all this random cushion in here. It's not it. It's not the move.
So, yeah, like Zach said, originally I was a sock guy. Coming off basketball season, all I had was these little Nike socks, the Nike Dry Fit, the ones like Hoopers be wearing. So I would wear those, and he'd be like, brother, you're cooked. Like, that doesn't look good. So I eventually just decided to take them off. I like how I feel like my legs look a little bit longer. He says I got that Asafa build. So, like, I feel like my legs look a little bit longer. I feel faster, kind of like one with the ground, one with the track. So, no socks. No socks is the way to go if you're a sprinter. And if you're wearing long socks like I was, you got to switch it up. You a little rolled. You got to switch it up. Hey, and whenever I was wearing socks during last year, I was running decent. Not too good of a split, probably 22 split. Now I'm sliding a little bit. So, it's the sock correlation. It's the socks. Everything else, not the mindset, nothing like that.
None of that matters.
It's the socks.
Socks are what matters.
The socks matter.
Yeah.
Well, so is there anything you guys want to add before we close up?
Just want to thank you for allowing us to come on the pod, man. It's been a great experience.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
My first real pod, I would say. So pretty cool.
Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, Ben, I really appreciate and I love the work that you're putting in with Kicking for Home. You got to give me a shirt or a hoodie. You know me, I'm 10 toes down with you, man. I'm going to support every time. You my dog, you my little bro. I see the work you putting in. I'm not going to get sentimental. I've been getting sentimental all year. Oh, my gosh, because I'm going to be leaving you soon. Not after this year. But anyway, we all see the work you putting in, even as if, like on the track, off the track, it's really dope. Having this podcast, having the newsletter is really cool. I'm proud of you, and just keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, thank you. Well, that closes it up, and if you guys want to make sure to follow the Instagram down below and subscribe to the weekly newsletter. Now, that's it from Track Talk. I'm Ben Drury. We'll see you guys next time.